Hello everyone, my name is Loko and welcome to another Overwatch video. In this video we're gonna be talking about one of the most important mechanics in the game, and that is gonna be the differences between health, shields and armor. All of this information is gonna be accurate as of right now. Obviously though, there may be some changes that Blizzard will be making in the future. Alright, so let's get started. First things first, we got the normal white health bar. These are just the general hit points that every character has. Some have more of it, some have less of it. For example, Zenyatta has 50 and Winston has 400. It can be healed up with health packs as well as by healers, and it does not regenerate out of combat. Except for one hero, and that is gonna be Mercy, whose hit points do regenerate out of combat just the same way that shields do. Now shields are gonna be the blue bar, and here it already gets a little bit more complicated. Some heroes do have shields, however not all of them do. The way to regain shields is by not taking damage in the game for 3 seconds, then it starts regenerating at 25 shields per second. It's important to point out that Symmetra can grant every ally in her team by 25 more. There are certain abilities in the game, such as for example the concussive blast from Vara that deals additional damage to shields. And a hero like Zenyatta, who has only 50 hit points, has 100 shields. Another hero that has a big chunk of her health in shields is gonna be Zarya. She has 200 hit points as well as 200 shields, meaning that as well as Zenyatta, she's gonna regenerate out of combat extremely quickly. However, there's also this thing called armor, and this is where things get much more complicated. For example, Winston has 400 hit points, but 100 armor. Now, not all characters have this. It lays on top of the hit points just like the shields do, and it can be healed up by healers or health packs. Now, armor resists damage by up to 50%. It reduces damage from each damage source by 5 as long as there is a single bit of armor remaining. Meaning that for a character like Soldier 76 or Tracer, who shoot with many individual bullets at a time, a character like D.Va, who has 400 hit points in armor, will stay alive significantly longer, as each single bullet will be reduced by up to 5 damage. However, let's say that someone like Reinhardt is swinging at D.Va with his hammer. All of the hits will be reduced by 5 damage as well, meaning that his hammer is gonna be significantly more effective against D.Va than other characters can be. One important thing to note about armor as well is that healers will be able to heal it up 50% faster than they can be healing up hit points. So the reason why armor is in the game is simply that healers will be able to replenish it much faster. So going up against a hero like D.Va with Tracer, not gonna be a great idea. Going up against D.Va, however, with for example Hanzo, you will be doing significantly more damage. Now where it gets really tricky is where Torbjorn comes into the mix. He can grant armor packs that give an additional 75 armor to every character. This however cannot be healed up, so it's like a one-time bonus, and healers also cannot replenish it. The depletion priority in Overwatch is gonna be shields first, then armor, then hit points. This means that characters that spawn with shields but who pick up an armor pack from Torbjorn will have the benefit of the armor while their shields are depleting first. So since shields are always depleting first and armor will make you take less damage than shields do, this means that a character like Zenyatta, who spawns with 50 hit points and 100 shields, but a Zenyatta who has gained 75 armor from an armor pack from Torbjorn, will effectively have a much larger health pool than 225. This is because even though he has the armor active, the shields will deplete first, meaning that he will still have the benefits from the armor at the same time as well. So while unbuffed, Zenyatta will be very weak against a hero like Tracer or like Soldier 76. If he is buffed up by for example both Symmetra as well as Torbjorn, he will become insanely powerful. With that, he can have a total of 250 hit points, of which most is gonna be reduced by damage and half of it will regenerate out of combat extremely quickly. Obviously this is just one example of many that is available in the game, but there are a couple of details that are also worth mentioning. Lucius' ultimate, the sound barrier, is a full-on shield as well, meaning that it depletes first before any kind of armor do. However, the ultimate does also deplete over time rather quickly by itself as well. Now what does all of this mean? The different tanks and the different heroes in Overwatch are all in the game for different reasons. Like we've already talked about, Soldier 76 and Tracer are gonna be very poor against for example D.Va. However, D.Va is gonna be a rather bad pick against for example someone like Hanzo, where each arrow will only be reduced by 5 damage. This is also the reason, by the way, why D.Va absolutely murders Winston. I don't know if you've ever been in a 1 versus 1, but the little beam of Winston is considered to be an individual attack every time, which means that all of the damage gets reduced by half. Since D.Va has so much armor, she will be winning that fight every single time. Another important thing to keep in mind here is that Zarya has 200 hit points as well as 200 shields. Meaning that while I see most of the Zaryas immediately pop their barrier right as they enter combat, technically speaking this isn't gonna be necessary at all. As long as you make sure that you first deplete your shields, then activate your barrier, you should be able to regenerate health in combat rather quickly as well. As long as obviously you're not gonna be taking damage for 3 seconds. So long story short, in the game there's hit points, there's armor, and there's shielding. Shielding will always deplete first, then armor, then hit points. Characters die when their hit points hit 0, however hit points are gonna be healed up first, then armor, and then eventually shields. Now since shields are gonna be depleting first, characters that have an armor pack from Torbjorn will still get the benefit from that armor while their shield is depleting. Now while Overwatch may look relatively simple on the surface like just any first person shooter, there's a lot going on under the hood as well. If you know exactly what you're doing and you're playing smart and you're playing in a team, you will be able to counterpick certain heroes and make sure that you have heroes yourself on the team as well that synergize together very nicely. Obviously, this will get only more complicated when new maps get introduced, as well as new heroes. I'm sure that in a year from now, mechanics will have changed slightly, but most of this information should be extremely accurate still. I hope this explained everything that you wanted to know about the mechanic in the game. If you have any questions, however, do make sure you let me know down below the like button in the comment section of the video, and I'll try my very best to answer everything and anything. Other than that, if you enjoyed watching this video, do make sure you hit that subscribe button so you get a notification as soon as I upload more. And I want to thank y'all for watching. Have an amazing day. Do not forget to smile, alright? And I'll see you in the next one. Bye!